Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into something surprisingly powerful today. It's about the subtle but significant impact of a seemingly simple daily habit.
Yeah, we're exploring one person's experience with starting daily yoga.
Exactly. And our source, it's this recent online conversation, right? It's called #2045. I tried yoga every morning. Here's the unexpected benefit.
Right, and it's quite a wide-ranging chat. It touches on loads of different things before it really zooms in on the yoga practice itself.
It does. And our mission really is to sift through all that and pull out the actionable stuff, surprising takeaways about mindful movement.
And how putting that into your daily routine can genuinely boost well-being, maybe in ways you don't immediately think of.
Yeah, looking beyond just like the typical yoga image.
Definitely. And how it starts in the source material is pretty telling, I think.
You mean the casual chat at the beginning?
Yeah, that back and forth. It covers like everything from lucky red shoes and success stories to controversies about statues, Mother's Day stuff, even wearable tech.
Right. It sets a very real, kind of everyday scene before the main topic pops up.
It feels very relatable, like you're just listening in.
And then, yeah, yoga comes into the conversation, and you almost get this vibe, maybe a little bit of gentle ribbing, that yoga's kind of soft or something.
Or just physical stretching, maybe?
Exactly. Just about the poses.
Which that really brings up a key point, doesn't it? This common perception.
Mm.
How many of us sort of think that gentler movements, whether it's yoga or just plain stretching, are somehow, I don't know, less serious than intense workouts?
Yeah, less valuable. But the reason the person in our source actually started yoga wasn't about it being easy. Not at all.
No, it sounds like it came from a real need.
It was a proper physical challenge, this growing stiffness, especially approaching 50.
Okay.
And simple things like literally putting on socks were becoming difficult. I think that's something a lot of people can unfortunately connect with.
It often takes something tangible like that, doesn't it? A real physical signal to actually motivate a change.
Our body's talking to us.
When we finally decide to listen, yeah.
And what's so interesting is where that led. I mean, yes, there were the physical benefits you might expect.
Like better flexibility?
Yeah, touching toes more easily, moving better, like sitting down, getting up off a chair, that kind of thing. But also, there were these really quite unexpected mental shifts.
Ah, that mind-body connection piece. That's fascinating.
Right.
The source actually mentions replacing meditation with yoga for a bit.
And even combining them later on.
Yeah. Which makes sense if you think about it. When you're consciously focusing on a stretch, engaging those muscles, your brain kind of has to shift focus, right?
Away from the external noise.
Exactly, away from stressors, more toward internal sensations. That present moment awareness, it's quite similar to meditation in its effect.
Calming the nervous system.
Reducing that mental chatter, yeah.
That feeling of well-being after intentionally stretching, that really jumped out at me from the source.
It's not just going through the motions.
No, it's the deliberate focus. And they really stress the difference between just, moving around versus intentionally stretching or doing yoga.
That idea of intentionality,
Yeah.
it applies to so much, doesn't it?
Totally.
Are we just like on autopilot, or are we actually bringing conscious focus to what we're doing?
And the source makes it clear, this intentional stretching, it wasn't always gentle. They actually say it hurts.
Right, which really pushes back against that yoga's easy idea.
Definitely challenges it. And interestingly, that discomfort, that challenge, it actually leads somewhere useful.
Like learning your own body better.
Exactly. You start noticing where the tension is, which spots need a bit more attention. It kind of forces you to tune in.
Become more aware of your physical sensations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really listen to what your body's signals are.
Which is so easy to ignore in our, busy lives.
Absolutely. Taking that specific time just to move and feel, it can give you really valuable feedback.
Now, if you're listening and thinking, oh, great, another thing I should be doing, the source has a really good angle on this.
Ah, the consistency point.
Yes. Consistency and small steps, the whole idea of just chipping away at it a little bit every day, that's what gets the results long term.
I like the analogy they used, the elastic band one.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, the idea is you might not feel a huge difference day 1 or even day 2. But if you keep gently stretching that band consistently over a week.
You'll notice it's become more flexible.
Precisely. It really shows the power of just like sticking with it. even with small efforts.
And that really helps, I think, with feeling overwhelmed. It's not about some massive overhaul overnight.
No, it's those small daily deposits into your well-being account, kind of,
And again, they explicitly say yoga is hard.
which is important. It reinforces that it's an active process, requires effort.
It's not passive. And it challenges that notion that maybe it's only for certain types of people or fitness levels.
Yeah, it's more about meeting yourself where you are, right? And putting in the effort that feels right for you.
Now, the conversation in the source, it does briefly touch on other stuff too, like morning routines, getting sunlight. There's an Andrew Huberman mention.
Right, it's a sunlight exposure thing.
But the main takeaway from that part, especially since they discuss lots of different routines, seems to be finding what works for you.
Personalization, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all answer for this stuff.
It underlines the need to kind of experiment, figure out the habits and rhythms that actually support your individual needs.
And speaking of trying new things, maybe feeling a bit awkward, there's that fitness tip shared in the source about gym confidence.
Oh yeah, the nobody cares what you're doing idea.
Basically, nobody's a shit what you're doing. Focus on yourself.
Yeah.
It sounds blunt, but it's actually quite freeing, isn't it?
Totally. And you could absolutely apply that same thinking to trying yoga or even just stretching at home if you feel self-conscious.
It highlights those mental barriers we put up,
Right.
worrying about judgment.
Yeah. When in reality, most people are just focused on their own stuff.
Yeah.
Realizing that can make it easier to, step out of the comfort zone.
It's interesting, too, how that connects, maybe subtly, to another point they made earlier in the source about whose rules are you living by?
How so?
Well, taking charge of your own physical well-being, like choosing to do yoga or stretch for your reasons, it's kind of pushing back against maybe what society expects fitness to look like or what you feel you should be doing.
Okay, I see. It encourages you to actually question your routines. Are they serving you or are they just something you feel obligated to do?
Yeah. Are you making choices based on your own needs or are you just following some external script?
That's a powerful question for anyone listening, really. Whose rules are you following when it comes to your health?
And then finally, towards the end of the source material, they get into this concept of habit stacking.
Ah, yeah, that's a really practical technique.
It is. They give the example of linking a small positive action like sending a quick text to a loved one.
Or something you already do automatically, like checking your phone.
Right. So you check your phone, then immediately send that nice message.
And the beauty of that is how simple it is to start. It's like a really low barrier to entry for adding small positive habits.
Definitely. And it ties right back into that whole theme of starting small, building momentum.
Leveraging existing habits, basically.
Yeah.
Your brain already has that pathway for checking your phone, so you just tack on the new positive bit. It makes it easier to stick.
Piggybacking on what's already there. Makes sense. So, okay, let's kind of pull this all together. Our deep dive today really highlights that consistent, intentional yoga or stretching can bring some really unexpected good stuff.
Yeah, not just physically, but for your mental clarity, your emotional balance, too. Big impacts from seemingly small actions.
And remembering the power of those small daily steps and also the importance of figuring out a routine that actually fits your life.
And maybe the big aha moment is realizing that an activity you might have written off as soft or easy can actually have really profound, lasting benefits for your overall well-being.
It's a great reminder about that mind-body connection, isn't it? Mindful movement is way more than just bending and stretching.
Absolutely. It's about tuning in.
So here's something to maybe chew on after listening. What small, intentional movement could you weave into your daily routine?
Something that might bring surprising benefits, for both your body and your mind.
Could it be super simple, like a dedicated stretch each day? Maybe just a few moments of focusing on your breath?
Or even trying that habit stacking idea, attaching a little positive action to something you already do anyway. What could that look like for you?